guys, what is up? Welcome to vlogmas day 15. Don't mind the mess behind me. I still have yet to organize this table, but I will get to it. So I was debating whether or not to talk about it in today's vlog, but honestly I feel like I am ready. December is actually a really rough time for me, and the reason why that is because I had a lot of relatives pass away during this time. Both my grandpas, my grandma, and my uncle who lived out here. So, and today marks the 3-year anniversary of probably one of the roughest deaths out of all of them. Like, I still struggle to process this one to this day. So today's the 3-year anniversary of when my grandmother passed away, my mom's mom, and we had our relationship was different compared to everyone else, and I never really knew how to go about it, like just talk about it, you know. So a little bit about my grandma. She's actually from London, and she came to America after she met my grandfather. I believe it was during World War II. I could be wrong, but I think that's when it was. And they ended up moving to Vermont, and they had 3 kids. My uncle, my aunt who lives out here, and my mom. And honestly, like, based on what my mom has told me, and honestly, like, I've seen this too, my grandma is probably one of the most badass women I've ever met, and I'm not saying that. I genuinely mean that. They had this one house in Vermont, and they ended up moving. They planned out and actually built their new house, and I remember visiting it all the time, like as a kid. Like when I was 5, we would drive up to Vermont all the time, and literally every time I drive by and see a field of cows, I always think of her and just Vermont in general. And the house was beautiful. It felt so big because obviously, like, I was 5, but I just loved visiting Vermont. It was literally, I don't know, I always looked forward to it. I always loved the drive and all that. I just loved it. And then I want to say maybe when I was like 6 or 7, both my grandparents ended up moving down to my hometown, Marlborough, Massachusetts, you know, just to be closer. And my sister and I are the only kids in the family on my mom's side, so obviously it makes sense. Like, they want to be closer, and I think that's what my parents are thinking of doing in the future. I genuinely don't think I'm going back to Massachusetts. I think I'm gonna stay out here with my aunts, and honestly that's what I want to do. But anyways, that's a different story. But yeah, and I was sad to leave the house in Vermont. Like, that always held like a special memory for me, but it was very exciting that my grandparents got to be down in Massachusetts with us and all that. And yeah, it was great. And I always found, I don't want to say that I wasn't close with my grandmother, but I had a really special relationship with my grandfather. He taught me to play the organ and all that, and sometimes we just go for drives around the neighborhood. It was great. And unfortunately he passed away when I was 7. I'm still bitter about it to this day. Like, he passed away from cancer, and during his last week of life, like, he was in the hospital, and I was actually sick from a sore throat, so I ended up staying, just hanging out in the hospital with him instead of going to school. And I'm still honestly so bitter about this to this day. I'm sorry, but the one day I was finally feeling better, my mom sent me back to school, and I came home and she told me that he passed away, and I just haven't been the same since. Like, this was probably like 16 years ago. My grandfather had like such great energy. Like, he was always like very easygoing, and honestly the older I get, I definitely see that a lot in my dad, which I am thankful for. And yeah, I just feel like it's not a bad thing, but both my grandma and grandfather had like 2 different energies. And I think, I don't know, just the way with what I was as a kid, I tend to gravitate towards my grandfather. I loved my grandma, don't get me wrong, I definitely did, but I'm just telling you how it was. Towards the end of when I was in 5th grade, so like beginning of summer 2007, my grandma was able to move in, and we were all so excited. Like, I feel like we all got closer with her, like, as time went on and all that, and we were all very excited for her to move in. And I think before I actually get into like the time she actually lived with us, and I don't know, they say in college like not to live with your friends, your best friends in college, because it could change a relationship. Like some people are just not meant to live together, and it could be for different reasons, and I think that could apply to family, maybe. I don't know, I was reflecting on this last night, and I feel like this is the best way to go about this. But yeah, it was not the best time for me. I was going into middle school, starting puberty. Yes, exactly. And middle school was so rough for me. Like, no, that was the beginning of when school just was rough for me. Like, you guys, I hated school so much. And middle school was really, really stressful. Like, almost every single day of school, like in the morning, I would like go down to the front office to use their phones and call my mom to beg me to bring me back home. Like, that's how much I hated it. Like, I was bullied constantly, and one thing I absolutely hated was when, and the reason, and honestly it makes so much sense now, I don't feel crazy, but I was placed in all the, because I was not good at school, I tried so hard, and I would still get like D's. Sometimes I was like, I never failed a class, but there have been several times that I almost did, and it just came naturally to everyone else, but for some reason it was just so freaking hard for me. Oh my god, it was insane. But anyways, I had that going on, and because my grades were god awful, I was always placed with, like, you know, the kids that were always acting up and all that, because they were getting the same grades as me. Like, I'm trying really hard, and how come my grades are the same as people who genuinely don't care? And then on top of that, like in class, whenever like kids would act up and teachers would start yelling, like, I hate when, like, actually like raising their voice, like it would just shake me so much. Like, anytime a teacher would yell, it would just make me want to cry. It would just ruin my whole day. Like, I'm just trying to get through school, I'm just trying to learn, I just want to be able to go to college and all that, and like it was just so, just getting through the day was so freaking hard. And then going home, not being, I don't know, see, this is the hardest part of this video, like talking about this, like suddenly there's so much people in the house. Like, I never truly had like good alone time. It always just felt like that, like everyone was on my case. Like, it just felt like everyone was picking on me, literally everyone. And anytime I just needed to talk to my mom, or like, I don't know, just wanted to be alone. Like, obviously, like with my grandma, she needed my mom and all that, which makes sense. Like, you want to be with your kids, you want to be with someone who makes you feel comfortable, but I don't know, it's just a time, it's nobody's fault. Like, I was just going through a rough time, she was going through a rough time. Like, I was going through literally hell of school and all that, and my grandma's getting old. She pretty much just like lost her freedom. Like, you know, moving in with your kids, like, you pretty much lose that. She couldn't drive, and she was like, and she was starting to get confused because, like, again, she was 85, like, going on, and it's a lot. And I think when like two people are going through like so much, like two completely different things, like it can really deter a relationship. And especially if you're living together, like you're constantly on each other like 24/7, like it can really put a dent in your relationship. I loved my grandma, and I was so excited for her to live with me, and unfortunately our relationship wasn't the same after she moved in and I started middle school. She was getting older, and I feel like a lot of my friends didn't really understand that, and it was just so hard for me to talk about. Like, basically it was just a lot of noise for me after this time, and I ended up going to a private high school, but honestly it didn't get any better. Like, I think like maybe like 75% of my teachers hated me because I just could not, I was just struggling so much with just school in general. Fun fact, I almost failed out of high school when I was a freshman, so you can imagine the damage. But anyways, it was hard because I had a longer drive from school. Like, I had to really focus on my work now because it's at a higher level class. Like, I think like maybe my lowest level classes would be like the equivalent to like maybe an honors class at a public high school. I'm not saying that to brag, I'm just straight up telling you, like, that's how fucking hard it was. I just got even more stressed out about school. Like, I didn't even think I was gonna go to college. Like, at that point I didn't even want to. Like, I was done. And I think we ended up getting a caretaker at this time too, because there was just so much my mom could do. And at this time my grandma needed to start using a walker. Like, my mom couldn't lift her up anymore without her throwing out her bag, because again, my mom's getting old too. Everyone's getting old. I'll be 24 in a few days, but yes. So yeah, so sometimes I would be hanging out with my grandma and my mom, sometimes my grandma and her caretaker, who I'm now friends with on Facebook. Like, I love her. Like, sometimes my grandma will just be falling asleep in her bed, and then me and her caretaker will just keep talking. Like, I love that. Like, I don't know, I always loved seeing her in the house. But yeah, I think going to college and actually giving myself some space from like everything, I'm not just saying just my grandma, like literally everything was good for me. And honestly, like, I kind of hate myself for not realizing like all this after 12 years, because like, it's pretty straightforward. Like, two people are just going through it in different ways, and you're constantly on each other like 24/7. Like, you're living in the same house. Like, it can get a lot to you. Like, you like literally you both see everything, so it can create a lot of tension. And like, this could happen to literally everyone, whether it's two roommates, like a husband and wife, family members. I'm just telling you like why I think things were the way they were. But yeah. And then my sophomore year in college, my grandmother had just gotten surgery on her knee, and my aunt came out from California here, you know, to help out and take care of her while she's recovering. And my grandmother cannot do any like rehab centers or all that, for like the same reason of being put in a home, which I totally get. Like, personally, hospitals freak me the hell out. I would much rather be at home. So I totally get her on that. So on top of having the caretaker, my aunt also came out, you know, just to help out with my mom, let my mom breathe a little bit and all that. And while my grandmother was still in the hospital, like before she was able to come home, like both my mom and my aunt would like take shifts, you know, just to keep her company and all that. Like, which I totally get. Again, your girl has anxiety. Like, if I was all by myself in that hospital room, I would freak out. And again, because my grandmother was getting older, at this time she was 92. So if I could live to be 92, actually I would want to live to be 92. Are you freaking kidding me? So obviously, like, when you're recovering for surgery, you're on a lot of pain meds and all that. And for my grandmother, she had a lot of hallucinations. Like, I think like at one point she thought there was like a dog on the ceiling, and the reason why my mom and my aunt needed to be there was to help ground her and all that. And like, obviously I stopped by the hospital, I checked in with her, and one thing that makes me so happy is, like, regardless of all the hallucinations, the confusion she went through, she never had Alzheimer's, all that. She was just getting old, she was just getting confused and all that. Like, she always remembered me. Like, she always knew I was in college. Like, she didn't think I was like younger or anything. Like, she was still on it, which hats off to her. Like, if I could be as mentally strong as her when I get to be her age, who am I kidding? That's not gonna happen. So I'm just saying that, like, there was just a lot going on. And then thankfully she was able to recover. She still needed the walker, so that way she can still, you know, walk around the house and all that. And a couple months later, I was just about to turn 20. My grandmother fell and broke her leg. And again, she doesn't have that much energy, so she was actually never able to recover from it. She spent literally the last year of her life in bed. And I remember at the time, my mom was ready to just like take charge on her life, you know, get fit and all that. And I think for Christmas I got her an outfit from Lululemon. And then her life was on hold because, you know, my grandmother was bedridden for the rest of her life. Like, she needs to be home for her. And then, yeah, and we're going into 2016. That was not a fun year for any of us. So, yeah, 2016, I had got my first apartment at the time, which ended horribly. I'll talk about that in another video. So, I was going through it, and, you know, sometimes I would call my mom and, you know, just to vent for her, and the phone calls would always have to be cut short because my grandmother needed her. Or like anytime my mom came to visit me, like up where I lived, it always had to be like an hour long or short because like she needs to be back with my grandma. Like she needed like to drive like 2 hours there to me and back. So I don't know, it felt like I was losing a lot of people at this time because like my family needed to take care of my grandma, which makes a lot of sense. But like at the same time, like I was going through it too. It's just like it was just bad timing for like all of it basically, and it sucks, but like you just need to move forward. And this is honestly the first time I'm like genuinely talking about this on camera to literally everyone. Honestly, I'm so proud I haven't started crying yet because it's gonna happen soon. And then fast forward to fall 2016, we had decided to put her in hospice care because she just was not recovering from the leg, and she was starting to lose her appetite. And again, she was 93. That's a very long time, very impressive time to be alive. And yeah, so my uncle started visiting her. He lives out in Virginia, so my uncle would be out here. I think, yeah, my aunt came out here at one point. And yeah, like her, obviously, like because of all like the pills for hospice, like I don't even know what's in them, but like obviously like that made the hallucinations worse. I remember one night, at the time this is when I started dancing. I came home from ballet class one night, and my uncle was here, you know, just taking care of my grandma, and I was really hungry, and we didn't really have any food in the house, but I didn't want to go out to eat. I didn't want to leave my uncle alone. And my grandmother was having another hallucination. Like we actually have like an actual hospital bed in her room. Like she can't sleep in her regular bed anymore. And I was hanging out with her, and at the time we had just gotten bullied, like maybe like 2 months ago, and she gets this hallucination pretty often, which is why we always need someone in the house. Like it literally feels like we always feel like that her bed was like falling or spinning, like, which makes so much sense because like when you've literally completely lost your freedom, like you just feel so lost, and then on top of that you're on all this medication. Like I never truly understood it until now, like really like taking everything into account. I remember that night, like my uncle was telling her like she's okay, like the bed's perfectly fine, like it's not spinning or anything, and she wanted me to call the cops on my freaking uncle. I'm not making this up. And I'm like, no, really, you're okay and all that. Like I knew she could trust me. Like no, like genuinely, you are okay. And then she got so mad. She was like, oh, you've turned into them too. And like honestly at this time I didn't take it personally because like I knew she was completely out of it. But like if I was in like high school or middle school, like that would have like completely destroyed me. But like by then I knew she just wasn't mentally there anymore. And I wanted to get food so badly, but like I knew she wasn't going to be okay with just my uncle at this point. So while she's screaming at me, like I still have to keep telling her like, you're okay, it's fine. And then I also have my dog there to comfort me. Because like, you know, 2016 was not the best year for me either. Like I was going through it and all that, and in that specific day I had a very emotional ballet class, so there was a lot going on and all that. But yeah, I think I had just gotten out of an exam, and my mom ended up texting me and my sister that my grandmother passed away, and I genuinely did not know how to react to it. Like I just didn't know what to do. I didn't want to go home or anything. Like it was just a really weird time. Like like so much has happened with our relationship, and I never truly, and I'm mad at myself for not really reflecting on all of it like while she was still around. Like I could have made things right with her, and I just felt like at the time I just felt like I was never the perfect like granddaughter and all that. Like I was always like lashing out, like I was always like upset about something, like, and I was thinking, and then last night I was just thinking about like our good memories together. Like sometimes me, my mom, my grandmother, we would just like go for a drive somewhere, or if we were just doing like going to Panera, like we would always go together. Excuse me. And she always had like cookies in her room, and my aunt would always send out like C's candies because we don't have that in Mass. I could be really going through it, and she like offered me candy and all that, which was so sweet. Like, and she had some really good like candies, like really good quality. I don't think she was like, I generally don't think she was like that grandma who had like that tin of cookies and put other stuff in it. Like she genuinely had cookies in there. Like she had the good stuff. She always had something to offer me and all that. She'd always give me a hug. Like she would, for the most part, she would be in a good mood when she would like come into the living room and see me sitting there and all that. So we did have a lot of good times together, but again, there's just so much noise going on at home and all that, and with school, like I was going through it. And like when I was in high school, like mental health awareness was not a thing. It wasn't a thing till like maybe my sophomore or junior year in college. So yes, but yeah, there's just so much going on, and I just want, my biggest regret is that I wish I had the tools to take charge of my mental health and like really reflect on me and my grandma's relationship, because like I feel like I could have put in the effort to make it better, but I don't know. So part of me just feels like a disappointment to her and all that, and I think that's why I've been having such a hard time processing her death, because like I didn't have the time to make it right with her, and I don't know, I just don't know what she's thinking about me right now up there. Like I hope she thinks I'm making good choices. I know for a fact she's mad about me with my nose piercing, which I totally understand. I wish there was a way like she could tell me that she's proud of me, because I genuinely don't know. You know, talking about this does make me feel a lot better, and I'm glad I took the time to reflect on it. I was so hesitant on talking about this, and I was actually gonna make a post on Facebook, but honestly I think I'm just gonna link this in like on my profile and just like, you know, go ahead and watch it. So I'm going to end this vlog here. If you have stayed, if you've been watching all the way up to this point, thank you so freaking much. Like this honestly means so much to me. Like this was definitely maybe the hardest video I've ever had to make. And yeah, if you watched all this, I greatly appreciate you. I promise my vlog tomorrow will be a lot more exciting, but I just really felt like I had to do this vlog today. Like I really felt like I had to. So yes, I am gonna go get ready for work, and I will see you tomorrow for vlogmas day 16. All right.